Cyber Innovations in the Private Sector highlights case studies and the latest industry trends from private vendors. Explore innovative solutions, success stories, and exclusive insights from industry leaders. Stay ahead with the cutting-edge developments driving the industry forward.
Today on CyberSecTV, we speak with Jordi Puiggali, CTO and co-founder at Secrets Vault, on preparing for the quantum threat and securing data with post-quantum cryptography.
My name is Jordi Puiggali. I'm the Chief Technology Officer and also co-founder of Secrets Vault, a company whose main focus is how we can transform images on post-quantum cryptographic algorithms. Quantum computers are considered a major challenge on cryptography nowadays because they are breaking the concept of security on cryptography, and they will provide enough computational power for breaking current algorithms. The main problem is that cryptography is mainly focused on the complexity, the computational complexity of current computers for breaking the systems. And it's not possible with current computers, for instance, to break any cryptographic algorithm nowadays. But quantum computers will provide scale change on the computational power that we will have. And this will make able to break current cryptographic algorithms. Post-quantum cryptography is a new set of cryptographic algorithms that has been designed to be computational secure even from quantum computers. The characteristics of these algorithms is not that they will resist any computational attack that is using all the power of quantum computers, but also these algorithms can be executed now for protecting things on current computers. So you don't need to wait until you have quantum computers to execute these algorithms. That way you can start to use this algorithm now for protecting any information with the security that this information will remain protected even when quantum computers will be available. The companies need to start preparing for post-quantum era now, especially from the point of view of protecting the privacy of data. Okay, they need to be prepared at the moment that we have quantum computers. And this is especially important because this migration is not easy. You need to migrate all the cryptographic algorithms that you have. You need to update all the keys that you have, and this will take time. So you cannot wait until quantum computers are available to start to do the migration because it will be too late. Harvest now, decrypt later risk is based on how you can protect the information that is encrypted now using this with our current algorithms that are considered pre-quantum algorithms, because all this information can be decrypted in the future. So harvest now and decrypt later are a type of attacks that can implement attackers if they start to collect the data now and store this data and wait until, I don't know, maybe 5, 10 years, 30 years, when quantum computers with enough power for breaking current algorithms are available, then they can start to use all this data and they can decrypt and start to see information that is now private and maybe should be private for a long term. Companies, enterprises, let's say that they are preparing for moving. The main problem is that they need, let's say, some push, because at the end, one of the good things that nobody knows is when a quantum computer will be available. So it's not possible to guess at least with 100% certain that a quantum computer will be there in 5, 10 years. So companies sometimes need someone that push them to say, okay, you need to migrate. Now, especially our governments or the European Union, that they publish some guidelines for start this migration. That is what companies are using as reference for a start to move to post-quantum cryptography. And mainly these guidelines or these plans are setting up 2 special deadlines. One is to 2030. That is the first deadline for companies that are managing critical systems to have everything migrated to post-quantum cryptography, and 2035, that is the deadline for having everything migrated. This does not mean that that we will have a quantum computer in 2035, okay? But maybe Secrets Vault technology has been focused more on how to manage the usability when you are using quantum cryptography. One of the things that we know in advance is that quantum computers are not only targeting cryptography, they will target any security mechanism that is implemented. In our case, we're also thinking about password, because in one side you have cryptographic keys that are used for performing cryptographic operations, but there are also security mechanisms used for performing other security controls, like authentications that are based on, for instance, passwords, biometrics. In our case, we know that passwords also will be impacted by quantum computers. And if you want to have password that is secure against quantum computer attacks, you will need at least 41 random characters. That means that from the point of view of a password, it's impossible to remember. And therefore, you need to find a way that can substitute something that you can remember and that can be used at the same time to protect against quantum computer attacks. And what we are proposing is using images, and we implemented a technology that is able for converting any image on a post-quantum cryptographic key. So you can use images for authenticating, for encrypting, for performing any cryptographic operations. What is important from the point of view of the user, they only need to remember an image that is easy to remember compared on 41 random characters password. The evolution of authentication in the coming years is pretty interesting, especially considering the point of view of quantum computers and also the evolution of artificial intelligence. Because from the point of view of authentications, mainly we have three different factors. One is something that you have that usually is a cryptographic key that we have been talking about, that in that case we need to migrate to new algorithms, post-quantum cryptographic algorithms. So we have post-quantum secure solution in that case. But what happens with something that you know that is a password or something that you ask that are biometrics? In that case, our proposal using images then can provide an alternative to passwords from the point of view of authentication. In the case of biometrics, well, this is difficult because they currently are challenged by artificial intelligence, especially with deepfakes, etc. And this problem, for sure, it will be even tough considering how powerful are quantum computers. So this is something in our case that what we are proposing is you can still use images, but combine images with biometrics, so you can combine cryptography based on images and verification that in the image you are present, biometrics. And this is the alternative that we can think that in that case you need two factors, not only biometrics, but factor of knowledge. That is what is expected that will be always needed in the case of biometrics. So at least to fight again deepfakes. And the main challenges that the company is facing when implementing authentication new methods is that they need to migrate to post-quantum safe methods or technologies. In the case of cryptography, that means updating all the keys. And updating keys in the case of software is easier because you need to update software and then generate new keys. Mainly it's a problem of space, because now to have these post-quantum cryptographic keys, then you need larger keys, sometimes 10 times larger. But this is space, it's not a huge problem. Maybe the main problem in that case is when you have hardware. Let's say tokens, cryptographic tokens, or in the case of governments that they have these digital identity cards, they need to update all the cards because in the chips, they need to put new chips that are implementing the new cryptographic algorithm. So it's more a logistic, physical problem. And from the point of view of biometrics, then the main problem is that it's not something that you need to wait until you have quantum computers is a problem that is happening now, especially with artificial intelligence. That is how you fight against these deep fakes that are generated, that are pretty real, even for experts to detect if the streaming that you are seeing is a real person or it's something that is generated by artificial intelligence. In that case, one of the measures that are proposed is that, in addition, to add some knowledge factors as part of the biometric authentication to ensure that you are interacting with a real person and it's not someone that is impersonating using deepfakes based on artificial intelligence. One important thing, at least from the point of view of cryptography, is that there are a set of recommendations that are already proposed by the different governments that is important to follow, because this migration to post-quantum cryptography is not only updating algorithms and keys, it's also something that is proposed to be prepared for any other future migrations. Because one thing that we know is that quantum computers will become so powerful to break current algorithms, but we don't know what will happen when we start to have quantum computers and they start to evolve and go beyond. One thing that could happen is that even the current cryptographic algorithms that we are proposing years later will become also in danger, and then we need to migrate it to the new algorithms. So important recommendations for the companies when they are doing this migration, that are also part of the recommendations from the different governments, is the first thing is to have a cryptographic bill of materials, so to know exactly where you are using cryptography, where do you have keys. So in case that you need to make other changes, you don't need to do again the same job. The second thing it's important is that you are considering agility. So that when you are making these changes, you are making these changes in a modular way. So it will be easier that if you want to change one cryptographic algorithm or extend the size of the keys, it's something that is easy, as like changing the configuration, and you can make the change easy and you don't need to regenerate the complete software. One important thing that this is relevant is what is known to use hybrid systems. Hybrid systems, it's something that is an interesting proposal, that is how you are prepared in case that one of the algorithm is broken and you don't have time to substitute it. The recommendation is don't use one algorithm, use two. And the migration now is based on when you are, for instance, using digital signatures signed using two different algorithms. So in case that one is compromised, you still have the other that is still protecting the information. The same when you're encrypting. Use two different algorithms for protecting the encryption key. So in case that one is compromised, the attacker cannot retrieve the complete key and they still need to break another algorithm. And finally is that when you are considering migrating to post-quantum, don't focus only on changing the cryptographic part. You also consider the other security mechanisms that you are using, for instance, for protecting the same keys. Because even if you are using post-quantum cryptographic keys, if these keys are not properly protected with a post-quantum mechanism, then it will be easier that an attacker can get access to the key and then break the security again. The role of Europe for developing post-quantum cryptographic technologies has been also a leader, because just only consider the cryptographic algorithms that has been approved by NIST. All of them are coming from European institutions, European research centers. Europe has been always a reference from the cryptographic point of view worldwide. So the role here, it's important, and also not only from the research point of view, because also Europe has been leading the data protection efforts from a government point of view. Europe is a reference there, not only creating mechanisms that are allowing to protect the information, but also generating legislation that allows to implement this and helps that the information that we have is really protected, is not exposed to agents, people that maybe can use this information to attack you. So privacy, integrity has been also important here in Europe.